Hi, welcome back to Making It in Solidworks. This is video number 7, I think. And in this one, I'm going to go through what the best practice is regarding sequences of operations. So I'm going to start on the front plane and just enter a sketch, which will follow my usual routine, a center line, and then I'm going to put in a rectangle, but instead of using the standard corner rectangle, I always select the center rectangle. And what you can do is in the left-hand side in the feature manager, usually it'll have from centers ticked. I select from midpoint, and then you can drag a rectangle out. And what I'm doing here is I'm, instead of clicking and holding, I'm clicking once and then just moving my mouse around. And you'll see that the dimensions appear first on the left-hand side and then on the top or the bottom in blue. And you can type in from here what you want the dimension to be. So I'm going to round this off to set to 80. And then you can hit either the enter or the tab key and go to the other dimension, and I'm going to make this 175, and that's your item fully dimensioned in one shot. So the basic principle to follow for best practice in modeling anywhere is that one sketch per item. Now on Thursday I had suggested to you, or I had done this sort of single block and then had exited that and then had used that to model, to do this, extrude a boss, right? And so I think I made this 20, something like that. But it would have been legitimate to have included in this sketch the curve that I'm going to introduce now. So I've got this as a rectangle, but this would have been quite okay because it's simple enough. You can drive that with a dimension. Okay, so you don't really need the extra step I'm going to add in here. I'm just going to show you the principle of doing it. So I could have done that and then taken this line away and then used this arc, the 3-point arc, to drive the model. But I'm going to now click on the face opposite to the one in which the sketch is on. So if I click on the face, I can see where the sketch is by the dimensions. And a thing that I haven't shown you before is that you can, once you've got your dimensions set up, if you want to move the face, you can just click on the face like this and you can drag it out and get it to snap to something, or you can enter a dimension. You can't do that with these faces which are attached to a dimension. You'll see it's not possible. That's because the dimension is the way you do it. All right. So at the moment, this is not, I don't think it's the right thickness. Here is the thickness. It's 30. So you can always click on that and do a very quick parametric change to this thing, to this item, this handle. I'm going to put in a sketch on the front face. Oh, okay. There, I edited a sketch. So just be careful of which button you select. Edit sketches at the top, sketches underneath it, and I'm going to put in a 3-point curve. 1, 2. I'm going to deliberately make this curve connected to the sides. You can see that there's a coincident relationship here and a coincidence on the other side, but they are independently connected, so I can drag the one side up or down. If I want them to line up, I must just select both points, and then when this context box appears, select the make horizontal relation, or you can do it on the left-hand side. So I'm going to just hit the Control key again, make those horizontal. Then I'm selecting the curve and then the top of the feature, and I'm going to make that tangent. And I need one more item to make this curve fully dimensioned, or sorry, fully defined. Is a dimension. You see it goes black, turns black. going to make that 30. Right, so I could cut this item. I'm going to use this line to cut this item, but I could use the line to cut it, but it's going to be easier for me to close a sketch off. So that's what I'll do, and then I'm going to introduce one more dimension. That just makes sure that no matter what I do to this underlying feature, this sketch will always move alongside it with by 10 millimeters. So exit that, and then extruded cut. It's going through everything. I could say through all if it wasn't going through everything. Just see what that's doing. Say OK. Right, so now I want a hole in the middle of this item. I'm showing you this procedure. I'm hoping that you understand what's going on here. You start obviously from the largest item and move your way to the smallest. So I'm going to put a new sketch in here, and now I can, if I want to, I can select this face and I can use this convert entities command to simply select all of the edges. So if you look carefully, you'll see that that there is a line, that's a line. There's all four edges have been selected as lines, and they've got a, I think it's make, I don't know, I forget what this command is. Let's just have a look. Sketch environment, we're there. Display units, on edge, right, so it's an on edge relation. This is not quite what I want, because this is going to be very difficult to control later on, because that on-edge relationship makes it difficult. I'll show you why now, because what I want to do is I want to offset that edge and these two edges, and I can use the offset command. And if I just select the edges by holding the shift button down, and here it says 10, let's make it a bit more, let's say 15. You'll see that I can go up or down with this little arrow, or I can click the reverse button. I'm going to click on the inside, and I now have a dimension of 15. The difficulty here is that if I want to change the side dimensions relative to the top dimension, or if I want to change the dimension of any one of these, I have to go and cut away or get rid of all of the offset entities associated with an item. You'll see, even though I've gotten rid of that offset entity, it still turns black. It means no matter what I do, it's going to follow this 15 millimeter dimension. So if I put one in here, I'll get an over-defining message. So I can make it driven, but I can't do anything else with it. So the best thing is just to plan how you do these things. I want separate lines which have got a slightly different dimension to this top line. I'm going to do what I always do, putting a center line and then mirror this item around there. Oops. So I just make sure that you choose the mirror about line, or you choose this box when you choose the mirror about line. Okay, and then I can put in a dimension here, make it 140. And then I'm going to trim these, oops. So try that again, trim these. And the last thing I need is a line from the bottom with the dimension. Right, so this isn't a great looking handle. I'm just trying to show you how to do this. There we go. Oh, these are not fully defined. I think it's because they need a symmetric relationship. Make symmetric, and there we go, they're fully defined. Right, so I can use that to now cut away my centerpiece, my sort of cutout for the handle. And from this point, I could put in the fillets, the large fillets. So if you put fillets in, you go from largest to smallest. So if I click on one fillet and I say, I use the fillet command, then I can in fact choose the other fillets. It's hitting a face. I can choose the other fillets. I should be able to choose them. No. Right, so there's a command that you can tick to make sure that you select through an item. I'm going to quickly show you where that is. Under the options button, it should be under selection. And this one is in fact ticked. Enable selection through transparency. Let's see if this works. So you won't be able to select, as far as I know, or maybe in your version you will. You won't be able to select these edges through the item until you've actually activated the command. So fillet. Right, so this next edge should highlight here, and it isn't. So I haven't got this set up properly. I will have to do that. But obviously, if you don't have to move this model around, then that's a quicker way of doing things. So I would normally fix this video up and show you how to do that. I'm going to have to do it at some other stage and just leave this as a very rough video. So let's make that a bit smaller, 5. Right, the problem with what I've just done is that if I now put in a draft, then these are going to taper in. They're going to draft inwards. So I'm going to use the draft command, which is around here, just to show you. I'm going to select this face and give us make it 3 degrees so that it is nice and obvious. And oh yes, I have to select all the other faces. I'm thinking of shell. Let's just do that again. Draft. So faces to draft, I could just say select all faces like this. Okay, so it'll select all the relevant faces. Obviously, this top one can't be drafted, and I can see that my draft is the wrong way around. So I need to go back into it and just alter the direction. And I could have done that inside here. I could have just looked at which direction we were going and saying, using this arrow here to select the correct one. So there we go. It's tapered, but look at what's happening to the fillets. They're also tapering, and that's not ideal. That's not what we really want to do. So the great thing about the feature tree on the left hand side is that you can use it to shift commands around. If you've done something like this, don't have to go and redo everything. You can just drag the command that you think needs to be changed in terms of its sequence and just move it up. If you get to a point where it's not physically possible to do that, Solidworks will prevent you from doing it. All right, so have a look at that. That is now a fillet which now doesn't taper. It tapers in line with the rest of the taper. It doesn't actually get smaller at the top. So if I were to select just this edge, I can read at the bottom here that the arc length is 13.646, and if I select this one here, it's slightly larger. But if I were to measure them, let's just measure this. Let's put that measure in. You'll see this is it doesn't give me a radius. Let's just get to this radius. Where is it? There it is there. Radius of 10. That's odd. Right, so this should actually show you what the radius are. It might be here. No. One of these will allow you to see what the radius is. And I forget what it is. I will have to help you with that later. Okay. So this feature tree is very, very powerful. And now I want to shell this. But before I do that, I first need to put the holes in. This is going to be a handle which is going to be attached to a jerry can made out of plastic. And we're going to use two screw holes, or screw bosses as they're called. To do that, we're going to put quite large bolts through it. So that's why it's such an odd shape for a handle, is because that's what I'm anticipating you doing. So I'm going to put in another sketch. Okay, I'm dimensioning this. I'm not sure what the dimension should be, but I'm just going to leave it at 16. And instead of drawing this again on the right hand side, I'm just going to mirror it. So this item here, click inside there, say yes. And if I now put a dimension in like that, and I'm not quite sure why I jumped to the top. Because I don't have a relationship on this this center line. So if I put one in like that, then when I drag one of these, the other one will follow. So let's put one in here. Oh, right. So this is a trick I showed you on Thursday. I could dimension from the center of the circle to the edge like that. But let's say I wanted to keep the edge a specific dimension away from, or the edge of this circle a specific dimension away from this edge. If I hold, I can do that by holding the shift button when I'm in the dimension command, and then see. Okay, so just exit that. I had actually had that point selected. So shift button, select what you want, select the other one, and here I get a dimension from the edge. So let's make that a little bit smaller, 5. So that's how you would dimension something from sort of a circle to an edge. You would hold the shift button down. Okay, so exit this, and then we're going to extrude. But now, instead of, no, let's do that again. So I should be able to get from my context menu that command, which I don't have. Because we're in this sketch, right. So click on the sketch, and you should be able to get from your context menu the same command. And you'll see now that only one of the sketch items is selected, because in this button at the bottom, selected contours, that's the only one I've got selected. So if I've got lots of sketches in my sketch, lots of shapes, I can select which ones I want to use. So I've selected both of them. I don't want it to go all the way through. I only want it to go about 15, like that. And then I'm going to shortcut this by putting in a 2-degree taper. And I can see straight away that the taper is going in the right direction, but if it wasn't, I could just click on this button or draft outwards. There we go. So it's drafting inwards, which is exactly what I want. Right. And then I'm going to put a fillet in here you can see this is way too big because it's in fact cutting into this other one. So just watch what happens there. 2 millimeters, that's good enough. Let's do the same on here. I could have done all of those in one shot. And let's make this a bit smaller, 1.5 or something. Right, so I'm going to move a fillet around. I'm going to move it to the wrong place, and then just to show you, if I had done things in the wrong way and I got something like this, either a big red angry you've done something wrong on the left hand side, or in this case it's actually taken that fillet and it's put it across 3 edges because of the sequence of things. So if I know where the error is, I can simply move this back to, or move it up to where I think it should be. So let's put it like that and see what happens. So that still works. So as long as it works, it's fine. But the basic rule is fillets go from largest to smallest. That's for the simple reason that you want the smaller ones to go around the large ones. So if I'd had this incorrectly, I'd have to show you another example. But if I'd had this incorrectly, then physically a 1 or a 2 millimeter fillet cannot, well, 10 millimeter cannot go around a 2 millimeter fillet. So if I'd made this 2 millimeters and that 10, that would have been a problem. Right, so the last thing we have to do here is to shell this. I am going quickly here. Yes, okay, so I need to shell because I'm going to put the holes in afterwards. So as you grow in experience, you'll figure out what the best sequence is to use. So let's make this 1.4. There we go, and we've shelled it. And now I can add in ribs, bosses, whatever else it is I want to add into it. And I've just noticed that I would like to have a fillet on the bottom face. So I'm going to go back to this fillet. And as I select it, you'll see it shows up in the feature manager. So I can right click, hit that button, and I can select more edges here. So I'm going to select that edge, say yes. Okay. And then I want to put a sketch in here, which will be a hole. So here I don't need to, I can just click on a circle and it'll give me the center point, which I can then drag a circle onto. And let's do the same on this side. So there's the center point. And I want those two to be equal. So let's just make them equal. And they're kind of defined now because they're actually matched up to the center of that circle. The moment I put a dimension in here, they'll both go black because they've got a location and they have a geometric size. With those two in place, we can punch a hole through this item. Good enough. Right. So that's the basic idea. There's probably more I should add to this, but I think that's going to be enough for now. We'll add more later. So the next video will be on how to bring this into a drawing and to dimension it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.